Hey, welcome to another episode of Dreams Podcast. Hey man, this one's gonna be special. This is a SWAC edition.
I
Man, I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here with two SWAC legends. One I had down to play with, my co-host Jackie Mitchell. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, my man. Good afternoon.
Hey, and one of the best defensive backs to come through the SWAC. And this is one of the best wide receivers to ever come through the SWAC and through any HBCU, and that I had the pleasure to play with. I had the pleasure to enter. He entered the draft in 2000. Obviously, I was an undrafted free agent, but I got the chance to experience that, and it was pretty cool to see one of my counterparts go 21st overall. Was extremely excited because it's just something that doesn't happen often, right? So first of all, I want to give you your flowers, Sylvester Cat Morris. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey man, yeah, man. Not too many people. Jackie and I were talking about this. Not too many guys that come from HBCUs, go first round. So that is, I don't know if you realize, that's massive and that's legendary. And I think, man, you got to pat yourself on the back for accomplishing that, because it's something that just doesn't happen still to this day, right? I mean, still to this day. So for you to experience that, that's absolutely amazing. But yeah, man, let's dive into it. Let's dive into it, man. Like, talk about being, drafted 21st overall to the Kansas City Chiefs in 2000. And, what emotions did you have at that moment knowing, your life would never be the same? And also, this is a two-part question. What was the transition like, leaving the game of football, adjusting to life as a civilian? I know we use the word civilian for military people, but I kind of, I always tell people playing professional football is like living in a fantasy world, and I'm sure we play, we got a chance to play a kid's game and get paid for it. And so that's why I say as a civilian. So yeah, man, talk about, here again, being drafted 21st overall. What was that experience like? What was your emotions like, the moment that happened, man? To give us some insight on that.
Man, I spent the day with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I had a party in Jackson the night before, so I arrived home midway
Mm-hmm.
draft, and believe it or not, man, I slept through the whole draft. I was knocked out. I had a lot of fun the night before, so I was asleep. And the moment I actually got drafted, man, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I ever forget it. I stayed on the phone from like pick 17 to 21 talking to the Chiefs because they didn't know if they was going to try to trade with the Raiders to get me.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, man, it's tough to even put into words what something you've dreamed about for your entire life. All you can remember, 22 years I've been alive. That's all I wanted to do. And to actually make it and achieve it, man, it give me goosebumps right now. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And to your other question, coming back into society, it was a unique experience. Because for me, I had the game taken away so early by knee injuries, but coming back, it took a while, man. My transition was very unique. I stayed around different people. I've never really left the house much. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I would just rather stay away so I didn't have to explain, well, what happened to you? Why you had did this? What's this? Like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really
Yeah.
care to do that too much. But
Mm-hmm.
when you 23, 24, that's the difference. Now in my 40s, I could talk about it with anybody, dude, because it's just a certain maturity and a level of growth and development that you have to achieve once you start that new career.
Yeah. 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 No, man. I mean, like I said, I remember us coming in, into, into our first mini camp, and when they drafted you, and I came out a couple years ahead of you, and so I played arena football first, right before coming to Kansas City, and got the opportunity to come. And I remember just kind of reading the story, the back history. I know Gunther Cunningham, rest his soul, he loved you, and they saw you you came to the Senior Bowl, and that's where they really fell in love with you at. And like I said, it was comforting for me. And you obviously you wouldn't even know it was comforting for me knowing a SWAC counterpart was here, with that, experiencing that first time, the first time situation, kind of, that NFL experience, because it's not easy. As you know, I tell people all the time, that was the hardest training camp I ever been through by far. I mean, it was brutal. And learning the NFL language, the NFL playbook, it was extremely difficult. But here again, I think when you look across and you see one of your SWAC brothers in the huddle with you, it's just a feeling of comfort. And yeah, it makes things a little bit easier, because it's kind of like he comes from the same place I come from, right?
Yeah.
Because it's different, because most of these guys, Florida State, Ohio State, things of that nature, right? They don't. Yeah, we were the only, I think, HBCU receivers there too, right?
Yep.
And so right. It's just a different understanding, and so yeah, no, it was definitely cool to experience that with you, and like I said, to see somebody go first round, because we've seen people out of the SWAC put up crazy numbers, amazing talent, undrafted free agent, 7th rounder, right? One of the best DBs that ever come out of Southern, got Jerry Wilson, all world. He went 4th round, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was a first round talent, but it just, here again, it's just not too many people get to do it. I do want to, before I turn it over to Jackie to ask a couple questions. What was that experience like, coming from Jackson State and then going to play in the Senior Bowl? Because I know if it was me, I'm chomping at the bit to go prove myself. I get a chance to now go up against a guy from USC, from Florida State, from LSU, because Jackie and I actually, we used to train over at LSU in the summer, and no disrespect to LSU, obviously one of the best programs out there, but we went over there and held our own. Like, I'm talking about, you know what? I'm not gonna be humble. We went over there and dominated them.
Right.
I went over there and dominated them, and so that gave me more, like, I was like, you know what? Hey, maybe I could probably do this, because I just seen this dude go 2nd round, and I was killing him, and then I see this receiver go, here again, 2nd, 3rd round, and he couldn't even get off the jab. Jackie was choking him out, right? So we were like, shit, man, we could do this.
Yeah.
He did it. Yeah, right. And so talk about that experience. What was your mindset leading up to going to the Senior Bowl, and once you got there, like, what was that experience like?
Well, for me, to be honest, I was very blessed and very fortunate that I went up against a guy named Rashard Anderson, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He was drafted 2 picks behind me.
They
So,
third pick.
yeah, he was 23, I was 21. So for me, I felt like I had been going against a guy who was 6'2", 100 pounds, running low 4.3s, 4.4 at the worst. So I went up against him every day. So when I got to the Senior Bowl, I'm a statistics guy. I look at height and weight. So I've been going against Rashard, who's 6'2". I started looking at them DBs, and it was like 5'10".
Oh yeah.
I ain't worried about nothing out here. I went to Bradenton, Florida, and started training with IMG Academy. This was their first year down there. This was like way back when Freddie Adu was like 15, signing to play. I was out there with people like that. So for me, I went against a guy named Barrett Green from West Virginia every day for a month. So when I got to the Senior Bowl, I was like, hey man, y'all got to see me.
Yeah.
I ain't
Yeah.
worried about y'all. Y'all got to see me. And I show y'all what it is out here. Look at that. Look at that HBCU all you want after this first day.
Yeah.
When you go in them lines and you're going through one-on-ones, they see Jackson State and they like, oh, I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
By day 2 and they saw Jackson State, they was like, man, who going?
Who going?
Hey,
Go. Yeah.
who
Look,
going? I ain't going
Hey.
against them today. I
Yeah. Yeah.
today. Y'all go today.
That's how it was when we would go over to LSU. And it was more so with Jackie, because I think when you're going up against a DB as a wide receiver, he's not as fearful. But Jackie was a really good press corner. Obviously, he could play off as well, but he was physical. And I just remember DB, the receivers would be like, he'd come up and they'd be like, "Who you want to go? You want?" I'm like, "Dang, they scared. They don't want to get choked." They like, I remember one time one of the receivers was like, "Hey man, can you play off this time?"
Yeah.
It's they want that
Look,
smoke, man.
by Wednesday at the Senior Bowl, they told us, they was like, nah, Jackson State going against Jackson State. We ain't seen y'all two
Oh,
at it the whole. Because I told Wild, well, his Rashard, we call him Wild Man, so I just say
yeah,
Wild. So when
yeah,
me and Wild had an agreement. We been beating each other up all year. Like, wow, when you
yeah.
go up, I won't go up. When I go up, you don't go up. That
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, we need to see Jackson State on Jackson State. We tired of y'all beating up everybody else.
Yeah. No, man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
that's
No,
that's
yeah,
work.
yeah. No, and I'm gonna hear again. I'm gonna turn it over to Jackie. Sorry to hog. It's just bringing back memories. It's just I just remember when he got drafted. I was like, I wonder, is this cat? Is he really good? Can he play? And yeah, like I said, I was a couple years, out before him, and then that first mini camp, we get there, he come in, and I, you size him. I'm like, okay, he's 6'3". He said, I'm 6'3" too, so I'm like, okay, yeah, we started running routes. We started, like, okay, yeah, all right, he's nice, and then should we start going 1-on-1, getting team? I said, okay, yeah, he can go. Yeah, he for real, he real deal, he real deal. Yeah. No, he was just, I just remember how, your hands was just, man, your body control was just unbelievable. How you would go up and just torque your body in it was crazy. If that ball was in the air, yeah, it was a good chance. I'd say it was a 99% chance you was coming out with it. It was definitely a sight to see, man.
It wasn't 50-50.
No, it was
Made
oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'll turn it over to Jack, man, and keep us rolling.
But yeah, man, that's great history, great stories, man. And Sylvester, like prior to us getting on camera, like you said, we faced each other 96, 97, 98. I can too attest to that, Scott. Just I remember, like I said, to play up their sideline. I think it was an outer hitch or something, and he turned up on us and nobody called him. But and at that time, you look at it and I remember, like he said, when we were watching the draft, and I felt like, by him being in the SWAC, we made it. You know what I'm saying? You pick, I'm like, man, then 2 picks later, you see Rashad Anderson. I was like, man, we made it, so it's always been an honor to watch. It's always been an honor to compete. And the biggest thing about that, man, going and being drafted in the first round, that's a part of history. I don't know, and I'm not saying, but I don't know right now, is anyone from the SWAC has ever been drafted that high in the history. So kudos and, give your flowers on that, man. And the thing about it is more so of like, by many not getting drafted from the HBCUs, let alone first round, when did it register on you that you were making history, with your name? And you'll never be forgotten in your conference history book. So in the SWAC history, Jackson State, being drafted at that time, knowing that everything changes with that phone call. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then from there, it kind of is a snowball effect. You got, okay, from Jackson, I go to the pros, I'm drafted first round, and then think like you're one of the best to ever do it. You know what I'm saying? So how does that feel? How does that register on you as far as that goes?
Man, it's very humbling to realize that still since 2000 there hasn't been another skill position player from the SWAC. We had the offensive lineman from Alabama State go to the Texans a couple of years ago, but we haven't had a skill position player drafted that high since. So it's
Mm.
very humbling to believe, and sometimes it's not frustrating, but you want the other guys who come behind you to give a chance. You think you laid a framework for them to see other guys, but for some reason it just hasn't worked out that way for the SWAC and HBCUs. But I think we still have a lot of talent. We still play a great brand of football. I just think the advent of the MEAC schools being on TV, not MEAC, but the MAC and all these other conferences getting so many TV deals, it made it where instead of going to your HBCU, you would go like, well, I go to Bowling Green. I go to this because they're going to get to see me. I'm going to be on TV. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it a whole lot different nowadays than it was for us back then.
Absolutely. And I found this out doing a little research. Congratulations on being inducted to Jackson State Sports Hall of Fame, man. So once again,
Thank
that's another accolade. Absolutely, that's another accolade that I share with people. Like, I don't know the years that Jackson State's been open, but to just, if you say 100 years, whatever, 80 years, 90 years, 100 plus years, to be named one of them to go up there, that's a special honor, man. So, in doing that, I wanted to bring that up as well. And just to know you'll never be forgotten in SWAC history. You see what I'm saying?
you. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It's awesome, man. I will be going on October the 18th. I will be going into the Hall of Fame. That's even more of a humbling experience. But to join some of the legends, Jackson, we've been playing football over 100 years. So
Right.
I pinned for I made the 100-year anniversary team. Uh, they've honored me with some things that I really, as a 46, 47-year-old man now, I'm like, man, look back, you all right, bro. Say you was
Yeah.
trash. Now you was all right. You did a little something.
You did a little
Yeah.
something. Yeah, you
Yeah,
held it down a
a
little
little
bit, man.
something.
Absolutely. And that's what it's
Yeah.
about. And as you said, as we get on, that's the great thing that I really appreciate about this platform as well. It's the reflection. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you said, you get there, you've had time to settle in adulthood, you've been married, got kids, life's happening. And so when these honors come about, I totally understand and agree. It's like, wow, it's not bad, man. So congratulations again. And Scott, I turn the questions over to you, my man.
Oh, man, I'm just grateful to be in the presence of two Hall of Famers,
Oh man.
Jackie getting inducted to the Southern Hall of Fame, so
congrats,
man, hey,
Jackie.
Thank,
Well deserved. I
thank you, brother.
yeah.
told
So
Jackie
man,
to be up too.
I'm I'm in the presence of greatness, man. And yeah, so it's an honor for me, man, to be on here with you guys. That's definitely you look at people who came out of, Southern, such as Aeneas Williams, and people out of Jackson State, Walter Payton, right? Some people
Yep.
I mean, obviously a lot of people know it, but some people don't realize it, how many greats did come from the HBCUs and especially out of the SWAC, you know,
Absolutely.
and it's making some headway. There was a game on the first game of the season, HBCU game, and it was on CBS actually this year. So it's growing, and obviously with Deion Sanders, Coach Prime did a great deal. Uh, you know, of he really helped HBCUs by coming to Jackson State and bringing so much attention because by him being there, obviously it created more donor people to donate and make contributions because then people get to see and like, yeah, man, these people need help, man.
Yep.
Let's so it's so definitely grateful for that and just looking forward to seeing HBCUs and the SWAC conference continue to grow and produce great athletes, because it's definitely a unique experience
Because
to.
speaking on what you were saying, people don't realize, like, when I first got to Jackson, I didn't know the history, but after doing research,
Mhm.
Jackson had a player drafted every year from 1976 to 1995.
Wow.
Over 20 straight
Yeah.
years of
Mhm.
having a player drafted in the
Mhm.
NFL, at least one. And one
Mhm.
year we had 13 guys drafted.
Damn, I didn't
Imagine
know that.
that, 13
That's
guys from an
that's crazy.
HBCU team being
That's
drafted, man.
that's
So
crazy.
when you go back and really look at the history of the SWAC from the 70s and the 80s, before these guys could really be at a lot of
Mhm.
these D1 schools, like we got 4 Hall of Famers from Jackson State ourselves. I know Southern,
Mhm.
Mel Blunt, Aeneas Williams, like it's
Mhm.
Eric Carmichael. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Harold
Mhm.
Carmichael, like Otis Taylor, like it's a bunch of guys from HBCUs who have really contributed to the NFL in ways
Mhm.
that if they don't do your research, you might not know. You think
Mhm.
it's like it is now. It hasn't always been this way.
Mhm. And
Absolutely.
just to kind of piggyback on that, I just thought I was watching some highlights of the Super Bowl and that 99 2000 Super Bowl, where people got to see Steve McNair on display. And just think about this, not to get too far off script, but they took a quarterback now, and the same thing with Michael Vick too, even though he didn't come from an HBCU. They take these quarterbacks like that who are dual threat and put them in a box and put them in a West Coast offense. Just imagine if a guy like Steve McNair, if they tailored the offense around for into if they tailored the offense to his skill set, the way they do now, how they did for Lamar Jackson, how they do for Patrick, how they did doing currently for Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm telling you right now,
They
there's no
would
telling what he
they
would
would
have.
have known what they got from Steve McNair, man, if they had
Oh,
let him run like he wanted to back then.
That's a topic, man. It's such a sensitive topic, and I'll tell you why for me.
mm,
Um, and I hate to say it, if you go all the way back to history,
mm-hmm,
it was 3 things that to help your point. They didn't think we were
mm-hmm,
smart to
yep,
play quarterback.
yep,
When you got a quarterback, like you just stated, you
mm-hmm,
name me one African American quarterback that's been drafted or been in the NFL
mm-hmm,
previous to a couple of years ago where they
mm-hmm,
built the line around it. We've
exactly,
always had to run for our lives. Even as Randall
mm-hmm,
Cunningham, there's never
yeah,
been the system to make
mm-hmm,
the African quarterback excel. My
yeah,
third thing is you're not given the same opportunity and chances. We
mm-hmm,
can, as African American athlete, we know this. When you're going to these places, especially in the NFL, you may
mm-hmm,
get 2 mistakes, 3 mistakes, pulled out the game. You're
mm-hmm,
shuffled over here. You're
mm-hmm,
lost in that transition. Now you're talking
mm-hmm,
about 2 of the best to ever do it. You said Michael Vick. You see what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? Imagine if they would have gave Michael Vick a line. Imagine if
mm-hmm,
Steve didn't have to do all of that running, even though that's his skill set. But just imagine if he could sit back there and just poise that pocket. He had
mm-hmm,
one of the best arms, accuracy. So for me, that's why I don't really like to get into that topic, because
mm-hmm.
no one wants the real reasons why we didn't get those
Yeah.
opportunities.
Well,
Plus
I mean, no,
the
for
research.
sure. I mean, and just with the ability to have the read option, that's the read option was really created obviously in college, and then the first time we seen a team build an offense around a guy was RG3, the Washington Redskins at the time, now Commanders. They started running that read option, and here again, and then everybody was like, wait a minute. That was the first time somebody actually tailored the offense to the guy. That's why he was successful, right? Before it was like, hey, you go into the West Coast offense and you have to learn this. You got to change for us. No, that's yeah, right. And so, like I said, if you had Steve McNair running a read option, because he was 245, man, and he was a
Right.
4-4 guy. I mean, so with a rock, so it's just that's a whole nother story. We can go on and on. But
I want to say this. When
mm,
they gave the African American quarterback a line, he won the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson,
And I'm
yeah,
being
and the
honest.
running game, yeah, yeah. Well, I
Running
mean,
game.
the guy we had on that, well, who's Aaron, who
Yeah.
on our shows, Charlie Ward. How does a guy,
Hey, let's not forget about Doug now. Doug
Oh
Williams.
no,
Doug Williams?
he didn't have a line, but
Oh,
they
Doug,
made the.
Yeah,
Doug
You see
had
what
the
I'm saying?
Doug,
yeah.
Doug,
So
Doug had
he
caution.
had the whole sombrero when he had the three
Mm-hmm.
wide receivers. They had a great defense, and they
Yeah.
brought people in to protect them. But it wasn't
What?
built for those Sylvester.
I'm about to say, yeah,
No,
you're right.
right.
Yeah, it
It
wasn't built for
was
Doug. It
It
was
was
built
built
for somebody else.
for.
it was
It
built
was
for it was
built
built for Jay Strait.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. He was
Yeah.
built for someone else. He reaped the benefits, and I'm grateful that he had the opportunity.
Yep.
But that's what
Yeah.
I'm speaking of. It wasn't built for Doug.
No, it
To
wasn't.
Mm-mm.
me, the first one where they went out and they built the proper was Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Yep.
He won a Super
You're right.
Bowl.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
But
you're
he just
right.
if you want to know, that was built for the
thank
quarterback
you.
for LSU. Russell
Thank
just
you.
happened to beat him out for the
Yeah. Yeah. It was
That's
blatant.
what
He just beat him
yeah.
up. Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not we'll get into that, but I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Well, no, man, we'll get back on track, man. It's just, but that's what happens when you get to, we get three SWAC guys here, man, and it's just,
Right.
it just flows that way, right? But getting back on track, diving into, talk about your childhood a little bit, and how did you get into sports? What other sports did you participate in, and when did you realize that you were different and had the potential to accomplish some great things? Did you see that coming, or are those things you always thought about?
Man, well, I'm born and raised in New Orleans, so I
Mm,
grew up here. I grew up in Walnut Square Apartments, so I was always around a bunch of kids. So
mm,
we played football. I don't remember not ever playing football. I don't have memories of not playing football. But in an apartment, whatever season it was, that's what we played. So baseball,
mm,
outside playing baseball, basketball season, we shooting at the goal for. So that's
mm,
what we did. But I can remember back when we was like 12, 13, man, we used to go to play other apartments, and it would be the
mm,
16 to 18-year-old guys, and they'll let me come and be like, man, look, you could play with us. And I was like, so playing with guys always older than me since I was a youngster, I realized I had some talent, but I didn't play football in high school, man. I only played my senior year. People, that's the
mm.
one thing people, man, my high school stat, I got 13 catches in high school, 137 yards and one touchdown. And I was the tight end my senior year.
How do you get to
On-
Jackson State?
I was, and we was 0-10. I didn't win a game in high school.
Well, you got to tell how did this happen? How you get to Jackson?
Well,
I got to hear this.
we had a guy, one of your teammates, Nathaniel Bell.
Oh yeah, Nate Bell.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
and Nate went to high school together. So
Okay.
he was being recruited, man, because Nate was a big guy, 6'6",
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and do all those things. So he was being recruited, and Jackson came one day. A coach named David Jarrells. He came down there, and they showed him my best game with me split out, and I had like 4 catches. And he was like, "Man, that young man got a little potential right there. Let's go see." And he ended up meeting my family. We got to talk. Back then, they had the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Combine in the Superdome. So
Yeah.
all the kids from around, and he told me if I ran a 4.5, he'd give me a scholarship. So I didn't run that 4.5, but I lied, told him I
Hey,
did.
you gotta
I
do
got
what you gotta
a
do.
scholarship,
Uh,
and the
wait,
rest
Absolutely.
is
man, wait, hold up. You got to part. This is amazing. So, who showed him the film? Who told him about you?
my coaches. We had the coaching staff my senior year just took.
Yeah.
So we had a coaching staff that was there all those
Mm-hmm.
years, but
Mm-hmm.
they wasn't there for my senior year. So the coaching staff took over my senior year. They had all played HBCU ball. They all
Okay.
about HBCU. So they were telling HBCUs about us. Emmitt Smith and Coach Burton, Coach Byron Williams, man, we had some really good guys. And they
Mm-hmm.
told us, like, if you give us our all, we'll do all we can to try to get y'all some
Mm-hmm.
money for school. And man, they did everything they could. They put us in front of every coach, every HBCU, every, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
Jackson was,
Yeah. Man, that's amazing. And that's where, here's the thing, that's an important nugget there for, our viewers, or, these young athletes who are listening in. Man, no matter the situation, just keep working. Control the things that you can control. You can control your attitude, you can control your effort. And because obviously that, you did
number
what you were
one,
supposed
you
to,
control how hard you work. And
100%. 100% effort.
control how hard you work.
Yeah.
You can
And
outwork people to get things that they got, and
yeah.
working, it
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Mm-hmm. And your coach here again, he saw you every day in practice. Yeah, you didn't have a lot of numbers, but he saw you and was like, he believed in you. And so because if not, he wouldn't have put his name on the line. And that's one of the things I always tell young athletes: you never know when someone's going to be in position to help you. You see what I'm saying? And so every time you step on the field, you building your resume. And that goes for anything. Business, if you on a job, every day your feet hit the ground, you building a resume. We always, Jackie and I got a saying, we always say every time you wake up in the morning, you got a chance and a choice. And so when your feet hit the ground, you building that resume, and you never know who's going to be in position to assist you. And that was like, and now you look at what that did. You go to Jackson State, become one of the best to ever do it out of there, and go 21st pick overall. That's what this show is all about. That sort of thing for people to see, because people see the end result. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And people might say, "Oh, he was all world in high school. He was a 5." I'm just saying, right? They see the end result, but don't realize, the process, the work that was put in. You see what I'm saying? So that's
Indeed.
amazing, man. That's amazing. And man, shoots. Yeah, man. Congrats on that, man. Just to hear again, put in the work and always believe in yourself. Cause that's one thing since I've been knowing, you ain't never been short of confidence when you step between them lines. You ready to yeah. And you got to. Always people, a lot of people think, athletes are cocky or arrogant. It's like, to play at that level, you gotta think you the best.
If you playing in the NFL and you think the guy across from you is about to beat you, you got no business out there.
No.
If
Mm-mm.
not, if he win a route, okay, he wins sometime, okay. But if I go out there and you a person that thinks, hey, going out here, I don't have a chance, then hey man, stay in the locker room. We don't even need you today.
Yeah.
You
No.
can't help with that mindset.
Can't help us. Can't help us. And look, many people don't understand that. Man, I talk all the time because me and Scott talk about it. And the thing about it, Sylvester, and it's great because that's segue to the next question almost, right? And so for the next question, it's during your stellar rookie season in the NFL, did you have a moment where you felt like you belong? And how did you handle the lifestyle of being a professional athlete, such as fame and distractions? And before you answer that, going back to the statement we just talked about, your job is on the line every day. You know what I'm saying? And for people who are not in that position, they don't understand the pressure, the understanding. Like, listen, my job is on them. That play may get you cut that day. So you coming from HBCU, even though you're a first round draft pick, it's still a target on your back. You see what I'm saying? Because did we make a mistake? This guy coming from Jackson State really don't have this, but your numbers allow that opportunity. But going into that rookie year, leading and receiving, playing the way you played, how does that transition happen, and how did you feel making that transition from like you said, I belong, now you're an NFL star? How does that go for you?
Well, after the Senior Bowl, it was, I felt I belonged. But once you get drafted, and man, I don't know if a lot of your fans, I don't know if they know, but when I got drafted to the Chiefs, the cornerbacks James Hasty and Christian,
Who?
Physical.
The beast. I
they
tell people,
both
hey, both of them corners, dogs.
tall, they were both strong, and James Hasty was a bully, bro. I'm like James Hasty. So I was a holdout. I was back there, you could hold out. So my first day of camp, I walked up to the line for my first one-on-one, and James Hasty got off his knee, buckled his 10 straps, and told the DB, "You off." I got,
Got him.
I never forget. He walked up to that line, and he perfectly lined up offsides, and he told me, "You bet not back up. You back up, I'm a drag." So for me, I was confident in myself. I knew I had releases, so I didn't think he would understand my ability to move the way I did. So we went at it there one-on-one, man, and I got off the line, but James Hastings made it. He let me know. So by the time I got to a practice, I was like, man, I don't win against James Hastings for the past.
I
Y'all
love it.
don't know.
Oh, yeah.
This man is a straight bully, bro. And then James, if I beat him off the line, he could break on my route before I did and could tell me like certain things I was doing. And I was like, man, how did you know I was? He's like, man, you young, bro. I've been doing this 14 years. I know when you doing this. I was like, ooh, I got some. 'Cause these dudes could jump routes, and I didn't like that.
I know.
Respect that I was gonna buy him. He's like, you ain't gonna. They did. I was like, oh, okay. Man, it's
Yeah.
the learning curve. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
where you just getting beat up, but if you putting your time in and you dedicated to your craft, it's just so much that you don't know and coming from college to
Mm-hmm.
that level. You just
Yeah.
don't, and you can't learn until you out there.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I, it's crazy, man, and I'll let you chime back in, Jackie. But I'm glad y'all see me, for you viewers seeing me laugh, because James Hasty did me too. He played a pivotal part in my growth, and Sylvester can attest to this. Most of the corners and during that time were even, it was, I would say 5'9", 5'10". So Jackie was the exception, but it wasn't many DBs like Jackie. And so we could bully him. And so and Jackie could attest to this, I was a very physical receiver like you were, Sylvester, and I would bully smaller DBs, and you got away with it. And my first year, I played arena football for the Iowa Barnstorms, same thing. I would bully these DBs. I go to Kansas City, man, this dude was 6'1" and a half, he was just under 6'2". He was 215, built like He-Man. And I'm talking, and I remember, God, I'm talking about one time he put me in the sideline under the bench, man. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, and it was just, man, and his nickname was the Beast. And I'm just gonna give two quick stories, and I'll let Jackie chime in. I come off the field one day, and man, during training camp, and my legs, I'm like, dang. And he say, Rook, what's going on? What's up with you? And I said, man, my legs shot, man. And he said, man, you looking good out there, man. I said, man, I don't know. I was like, man, my body. He said, man, I tell you what. He said, let me tell you something. He said, Marcus Allen played in this league 17 years as a running back. And he taught me this. He got in the cold, he took an ice bath every day before and after practice. And, I'm 21, 22 years old. So I'm like, man, I ain't trying to get, and I tell you what, from that day forward, I played professional football for 10 years, and I got in the ice bath every practice and after every game. And it saved me. I will never forget him. Hear that. And I remember the last story, we had all the rookies, we had to buy the veterans food. And I came into the dorm during training camp, and he's like, hey, Coleman. And what Sylvester said, he was a bully. He was just a bully. Hey, Coleman, get over here. And he was like, he said, you didn't put in yet for the food. And I said, oh, I got 200 on it. He said, all right. He said, okay. He said, I appreciate it. He said, you know what? He said, I won't harass you for a couple of days. and I was like, man, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, dude, he made like he can attest to that. Man, when you go against that dude, man, after that training camp, that's why I was telling it was already hard, but the DBs between him and Eric Warfield were so good at reading routes. They were physical. And so by the time my next training camp, when I went to San Francisco, NFL training camp, San Francisco, I had a Mad Plummer and Jason Webster. I annihilated them because I had just went against the beast and Eric Warfield. So these dudes, they 5'9", 5 man. Yeah, it was nothing. But yeah, I just had to tell those stories, man. That dude was, man, he was an animal. But yeah, but Jackie, I'll let you chime in, man, a little bit there.
Just it goes to what we talked about. As Sylvester said, you come from collegiate, level, right? When you got a guy 14 years in, it's the little things, the nuances, because everything in the NFL is about time. It's nothing about, you do, but everything is timing. So if as a DB, if I can just hold you up over here, quarterback got to go over there. You see what I'm saying? So as Sylvester say, if James is trailing, I only have so much time to get this ball off. So when you have that conditioning, that understanding, like that's how he was able to jump around. You take nothing away from his ability, but that makes him that much more dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a guy coming in, and true enough, you're a great player, but you don't know those little things. Like you said, I'm new to this. Is this learning curve for us coming in? So I applaud you, but just being able to get there, going against that level of competition and exceeding, for your rookie year, man, congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's what it's about. Scott, I think is your question.
Yeah. No, man. I wanna kind of jump into something a little different. I think, we similar cities. I think we all grew up in inner cities and in rough environments. And it's kind of contribute to who we are today. I grew up in Compton, California. Jackie grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Obviously, you grew up in New Orleans, and that what I want to talk about is like growing up in New Orleans, as here again in Compton. It's a place I know at one point it was known as the murder capital of the world. So much violence and just a lot of it's very easy to go to go left, as they say, and make a one bad decision obviously could change your entire life. So talk about I just like, how are you able to stay on the right path and avoid, here again, going down the wrong path? Because here again, I'm just relating to myself. There were several times where I could have made those decisions, drug dealing, and because here again in the inner cities, that's what's glorified, right? The drug dealers get all the pretty women, and it's in attention. Those are the superstars. So it's very easy to fall, to not see the future and say, hey, I can't deal with this right now because I have something bigger. There's a bigger picture, right? So it's very easy to get here again, to get distracted and fall by the wayside. But yeah, how were you able to avoid that, man?
Well, I was blessed, man. I come from a very Christian family, so even when I was able to go outside to play, it wasn't too far away from home. It wasn't where we was gonna be gone long. So my structure at home was to the point. I tell my nieces and nephews now. I got drafted, and I still had to be inside at 2:00 at my parents' house. If you stay, my daddy, he ain't play them type of games. It wasn't happening. It's his house. It's this way, and if you can't do it this way, you need to find another place to go. So I was blessed that I didn't really never get into any of those things. I saw it. Once you're in high school, you see a lot of stuff, but it was never a thought of mine. I wanted to play football since I was 5 years old, man. This is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do nothing else. I wanted to be a football player. So the structure from home, me articulating those dreams to my parents, they really you know, we're gonna do all we can for you, but if this your goals, you don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
my daddy would he get up, take me to work with him on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? He was
Mm-hmm.
an electrician, so when he wiring somebody's house, instead of being out, I was wiring somebody's house. So when I got
Mm-hmm.
home, I was either too tired or wanted to go play me one more game. Let me get a game in Saturday, and then I'm going to lay down. So I was blessed. I was very fortunate, man, that I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah. That was very wise by your dad to bring you to work with him, because here again, that's where I was. I'm coaching a little league team here, and we were walking. The other day, I was walking to practice through the field, and I saw some kids on the playground, playing with water guns, doing nothing. And then I was talking to one of the other guys, and I was like, man, if a kid's not playing sports, like what is he doing? And I know sports isn't for everyone, but I'm just saying, I think every parent should put their kid in some sort of sport, because it just keeps you away from so much riffraff, so to speak, and things that can happen. And because and your dad here again kept you with him on the weekends, because that's when stuff happened. And another wise thing he did, 2 o'clock. We know nothing good happens after midnight. We all know that, right? And which is very, very, very wise by him. And it's not an uncommon thing, but still, that was, I just know how pivotal that is when you're growing up in those type of environments, right?
Yeah,
Because there's just so many things that can happen, and you might not even be involved in it. Just
yeah,
a random shooting,
yeah.
right?
Look at Tank Dell. Tank Dell
I
got
was just about to say that. Yep.
wasn't. Oh man, it's people have to realize bullets don't have names on them. Once they come out,
Mm-mm.
it's wherever that gun was aimed, and it might not have been that. You might not have been the person it was intended for, but by you
Mm-hmm.
being there, you had a chance that it could happen to you.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
it's
I'm. I don't even. I go to church. I go to
mm,
restaurants.
yeah.
I'm
We,
fine.
we and that's the thing, man. We were talking, one of our guests we had on, Nick Harris. He was a 5th-round draft pick to the Buffalo Bills, played at University of Oklahoma, and we that conversation came up. He too grew up in a rough environment, and it's once you reach a certain level, I was always told you can't have one foot in the streets and kind of and one foot in in the sports world, so to speak. It's like you have to adapt and you have to change. We don't change who we are and our principles, but you have to change. You can't go and hang at the same places you once did once you reach a certain level. And I know and it's a big thing, people think it's cool keeping it, oh yeah, I'm keep it real, I'm gonna keep it a buck. But like you said, bullets don't have a name on them. You just can't risk it and put yourself in those positions. Like we were joking, on one of our episodes, here me growing up from in Compton, and I said when I left, I was like, I'm not coming back. And I'm not saying I wasn't gonna come back and ever try to and give back. I just said I wasn't coming back to live because of what I experienced, how many childhood friends I lost. And it was just, I just knew that wasn't a life that I wanted. And and so now when I go back, I joke, I was joking, and I go stay with my best friend. He stays up in Palisades in the hills. And here again, I'm not willing to risk, my daughter growing up without a father by going to hang out in Compton on the block. I can't do it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can meet over in Beverly Hills and have a nice dinner, but I ain't hanging out in Compton. It's not happening. It's just not worth it for me. And I think that's something that a lot of athletes struggle with, is separating themselves, because you have your childhood friends, these are your brothers you grew up with. And so I think the thing is, it's like, hey man, I'm in town, hey, come meet me, come meet me here, and then we can do that. But as far as hanging out in there, we can name hundreds of people who've been in those situations, and when they're I mean, I guess obviously the one that comes in mind is Nipsey Hussle, who was a rap artist, but what happened? He was in his hood, where he grew up at, his business, and those are the sort of things that take place. And
Man,
I remember, it's just
my
you just
friend,
can't.
there's no anybody come to New Orleans, I give you my address.
Yeah,
But I ain't coming out like that.
no, it's just that's the world we live in, man. You just you just can't risk it. You can't risk it. It's not worth it. So,
Oh,
but no, but yeah, man, I'm into we winding down, man. It's been an absolute blast to reconnect and catch up. And that's one thing I one of the things I enjoy about this show is reconnecting, with our brothers and reminiscing and talk about what's going on now and things of that nature. It's just it's
look,
definitely a beautiful thing.
I know I won't hear from y'all around September the 14th, man, when y'all ready to get drugged again by us this
Hey,
year. Southern,
hey, hey, who won? Hey, did Southern beat McNeese yesterday?
huh?
They
I
end
go
up
to
losing.
Southern Pay. They
No,
lost to McNeese.
just hold on,
That's terrible.
hold on.
Boy,
Like, I'm going back to this young man's statement a few seconds ago.
Oh shoot.
I talk about
Hold
this
up.
on, so I have to say this on camera. I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know is from my era of playing, we never lost to Jackson State. So that's all that I can speak
break
on.
it up again, Jackie. I can't really hear you, Jackie.
Oh, I'm
Got a
freezing.
bad connection. Yeah, man.
Hey, you
Hey,
look,
So
hey,
I
what's
know.
the?
I'm saying, I mean, both teams have been great over the year. They've switched between winning SWAC championships. So
Yeah.
I always want a competitive game, man. I'm out of there. Who
Mhm.
win, who lose. Hey, just be competitive, have fun, and get your opportunities. That's what I'm on nowadays, man. So yeah, I totally understand that.
Hey, what was that song they used to? How that's what was that
Be
song? We
ready.
used to love it. No,
What?
the sound with Jackson State, the Jackson State band play when they come out.
It was a show.
No, it wasn't, man.
dun, dun, dun,
It
dun,
was a
dun,
show,
Oh,
Doc.
it
Like,
was? Oh, okay.
dun,
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 I
dun,
thought they
dun,
played another one.
dun, 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 dun.
dun.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Hey,
that's
that's what we said up.
I used to band director. You play that, I'm about to score, bro.
a. So it was crazy that year, and he's right. That year we played in Jackson when that was my first time playing in Jackson, and all those people was in there. It's like, I mean, standing room only. I was so grateful because it sounded like every time they played it, we made play. So y'all never got in rhythm. They never got in rhythm that year for whatever reason, that game. But we knew when they dun, 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 we was
Oh
like,
yeah.
man, like we got to make a play because we couldn't get in any momentum. Like
Mhm.
Scott, that was one of the more
Oh, I
surreal
know.
I've ever been.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
So
about
yeah, but
70,000 in that thing.
I wish just
Yeah,
both
it was.
It,
teams,
And
man,
you gotta let them know that was before Dion got there. We played before Dion got
oh
there.
yeah.
absolutely,
We
Oh
been
absolutely,
yeah.
in Pack State
absolutely,
well before, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
and like
Yeah.
I I got a question because if not, I'll get off topic. This is my question. The twofold. I had never seen an environment like that. I had never seen an environment like that. And our coaches had told us before the game. He said, when you go in here, it's something you'll never. He was like, this will be one of the greatest experiences ever. So I had the team come out early. We came out. It was only a few people scattered. When we came back out, and teams come out that locker room, and you looked around that stadium, Scott, I started crying. I
Mm-hmm.
literally started crying because it's 60,000 plus standing room only stadium, and it's just a sea of black excellence, bro. Like I was emotionally overwhelmed.
Mm. Oh
I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie. I was like, and
Yeah.
I looked around the stadium and I dropped my head. Like I said, I started crying because I had heard about it. I transferred from Pittsburgh. I ain't never seen nothing like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so to sit up in that environment and
Mm-hmm.
the way we played, because it was a hell of a game, both teams, we battled, but that environment alone, I mean, for anyone who's ever had a chance to be a part of that, man, it's a wonderful experience. And my question for you, Sylvester, is we spoke about it off site, but dealing with the injury, because you made a statement, and I spoke to Scott about this. Like, the game was not, it didn't end the way you wanted it to end. You see what I'm saying? So like you said, with the injury. So dealing with the injury, how, I know you said, but how difficult was it to talk about? You kind of gave us a little bit off camera. Now being in a different maturity mindset, like you said, you're able to, I'm not going to say deal with it, but it goes down a little easier because, like you said, it's not one of the things that for the time that you want it, it's something that I work for, the injuries. And sometimes, depending on what type of injuries, like you said, the game can be taken from you, not at your own expense, but how does that affect, and how did that affect you? And from going into the NFL, I'm assuming you were between, 21, 23 years old. What would you tell the 21-year-old Sylvester Morris then, if what you knew now? What would be the
If I
conversation?
knew I was gonna get hurt, then I would tell him to really enjoy and savor some of these moments, to actually look around and understand like the blessing you get, because tomorrow ain't promised. But for me as an older guy now, I knew I wouldn't be playing football at 47, so it's like, all right. But when you 25 and still feel like, man,
Hey,
I
top of the
feel,
world.
yeah,
Yeah, top of the
it,
world.
man, it was just like, you don't want to. It's something you don't want to talk about, but you're gonna have to talk about no matter where you go, who see you. So, I would just tell myself to just enjoy the moments you had then, and just be prepared that nothing lasts forever.
Mm,
Absolutely.
mm,
Take it while you got it, while you got the opportunity, maximize it. Do all you could do. 'Cause, I went from a guy. I didn't start my first two games, so my first start in the NFL, I 100 yards and 3 touchdowns in my first start. So in your brain, you like, oh, it's up from here. I'm done. That don't matter what it. Man, the next week I went to Denver and went against Terrell Buckley in my first week in Mile High, and I couldn't breathe after the first. Like, oh my goodness, what is this?
yeah.
1 week don't make the next week
Mhm.
do what you wanted to do. You have to actually like, all right, no matter what happened last week, that's a wrap. I got to do that this week. And if you don't, every Tuesday the NFL have people in at your position looking for your job. So if you don't do right, best believe they will let you go, because every Tuesday they have job auditions.
Yeah. 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 Hey, it's crazy, man. You dropped so many nuggets in that statement. I think starting off, first of all, in terms of um, living, we have to learn to live in the moment. Sometimes we get caught up in worrying about tomorrow and the future. Just enjoy the moment. And one of the things I've learned, nothing lasts forever. And I think if we learn to, I was just talking about this yesterday with someone. If we learn to apply that in life, we're gonna lose loved ones, right? We're gonna relationships that we once um, had, and romantic relationships. We've all been married and now, divorced, right? So, and we had some good times with those individuals, but here again, nothing lasts forever, right? Everybody, we're not gonna be on earth forever. And I think if we can kind of take that approach, I think it'll soften the blow when things happen, in my opinion.
Until
Um, yeah, yeah, no, man. I mean, and I remember that your first start was against the Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Like I remember watching that. I'm like, because I remember he started. I was like, man, I gotta watch my boy Cat get out his first start. And I remember you catching the fade on the left side. You mauled somebody. I can remember. And I remember you going off, and I was just so happy, man, to happy for you. And it felt like here again, it felt like I was there, you know. And I didn't make that team, and I was distraught but it made me a better person, moving forward. It made me a better football player. I didn't realize that, obviously, when someone takes that away from you, it's extremely difficult, man, to handle. But at the end of the day, we got to know that better times are coming. It was something else you said. Uh, it'll come back to me. I'm gonna let Jackie kind of chime in. It'll come back to me. But man, I'm just having such a blast, reminiscing and because that was just such a important time in my life. My first NFL contract, getting a chance to here again experience that with guys like yourself. It was an amazing time in my life that I'll never forget. But I'll let Jackie wrap this thing up, and I'll chime back in before we head out.
Well, for me, man, I just Sylvester, man, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Like I said, I told Scott, I remember competing against you. I remember, the accolades, the honors, but to me, it's beyond that. I really just appreciate the person you are, because I was telling Scott, you may remember this or you may not, but when I got released from Miami, I went back to finish school, and the competitive nature, y'all, we was playing in Jackson, the SWAC tournament. You and your friends on the sideline talking trash to me on the sideline. You remember? you talking cash money. Dude, I was like, man,
He played basketball. He played basketball too. He's dual.
Yeah.
That's right. So yeah.
He ain't
And
talking crazy to
you was
me.
24 in basketball.
I was 10, but listen, Scott, I'm going down the court. They talking trash to me on the sideline. Him, man, a couple of his friends. Man, this dude, the competitive nature of it, man. But what I want to share with you, man, is like, congratulations, man. And I
Thank
say that in all sincerity because when I think about the paths, when I think about the journeys, when I think about the environments, your village, like, that's God, man. You're the guidance of that, man. And like you said, with your father and your mom, whoever else is involved in that, they're probably just, hey, keeping his hand, just keeping his hand, saying, not letting you stray. But not only that, you understanding the importance of that. You know what I'm saying? Because like yourself, I only played 6 years of football total. I didn't start playing football till 10th grade. So I understand you said senior year, but
Yep.
not only that, man, to have a Coach Gerald's, to have that, even though Nate Bell, he's being recruited, but, Coach Gerald's coach for Coach Richardson too. Scott, he came with Salem State, went to Southern after that. But Coach Gerald's, man, he just think about that's the vessels, man. The people that you on the journeys, and to play 1 year of high school, to go to college, and to get drafted, like that to me speaks just overwhelming joy for me, man, because it's like no one knows what you actually went through to get. Everybody think it's glitz and glamour. Everybody think, oh, he had it easy. Hey, man, I applaud you for your work ethic. I applaud you for just everything that you've been about for the game. And it's even speaking more because, like you said, being an ambassador for Kansas City, they don't have to allow you to do that. But that speaks to who you are. You see what I'm saying? So for me, man, I wish you nothing but the best. Can I can empathize when you say I didn't have the injury that you had that took the game away from me. Mine was when I actually lost a child, so I lost love to play. You know what I'm saying? But I never wanted to play again. So I get what you say with the injury. You come back playing well to suffer another injury, and now it's like, it's not really that. It's not on me anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's not on me anymore. But to still be an ambassador, to still be in the position that you're in, to take care of your family, take care of yourself, man. That's what it's about. And for Dreams Podcast, that's what our platform is, to show the transparency, to share the vulnerability, man, and to share your accolades and awards, and for people like us to give you your flowers, because it's not a lot of people that's done it the way you've done it. So that's what I want to share with you. And I just thank you for being a guest on our show, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to say one more thing, man. Y'all have the perfect name for a podcast, Dreams, because all of this started. We all started. We all played your podcast. It all come from a dream. We
Absolutely.
all everything started with a dream we had one day to try to achieve things in life, and it's a blessing, man. So I wish you the best, and y'all keep it up, bro.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
Some
dreams, and it's locker room to reality.
Yeah.
It was yeah, when we came up with that, I was like, man, yeah, it's when Jackie, spit it out, I was like, man, it's perfect, man. That's God. And it came back to me what I was gonna say as we wrap it up. You dropped a huge nugget uh about, because I witnessed this. Didn't you come work out for the Redskins when I was playing for the Redskins?
I probably did
You
have a.
did, yeah. I remember on the
Oh,
tour
you
because
might have. Yeah, it might have
I
been
was.
my.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think it was me. I think I did come to DC.
Yeah, yeah. I remember they brought Larry Parker in, but I remember seeing you. I believe you did come work out, but and I remember playing against you actually. Yeah, I remember when I was in San Francisco. I remember us playing against each other. You were in KC still, but what I wanted to elaborate on was um them bringing in someone to take your job every Tuesday. This is for the viewers. This picture, you go to work because I think a lot of times we take our blessings for granted, our jobs for granted. How many times people, oh man, it's Monday, the weekend wasn't long enough. I don't want to go. I ain't, and you got somebody else that would kill for your job. They can't find a job, and so we have to count our blessings. And just imagine, and that's one thing. That's another reason why I love doing this, because I can take this with me when I work on Monday. That they got somebody auditioning coming in tomorrow. So what if you had to perform like somebody was coming to? They bringing somebody in. They bringing 5 people in every Tuesday. And if they feel like they can outperform you, they gonna cut you fired. That's the life of a professional athlete. Since a lot of people think it's all roses and ice cream. That's what it is. Somebody evaluating everything you do. There's a scout. There's a scout assigned to each position group, and they're jotting down every move you make. And so here again, I just encourage people to live that way. Like what your relationship, they bringing in, they got 3 dudes coming in every Tuesday to replace you, and he could take your wife,
Yep.
and vice versa.
Look, I tell my wife that now she in project management, she be like, I don't think you can make it in corporate. I be like, man, I would crush corporate because I'm gonna do my job and I'm gonna do my job and I don't care what nobody else do. I'm gonna do my job.
Yeah,
I be like, you know why y'all could get away and you got to go through 15 different channels to find somebody. That ain't the way
yeah,
it works. I'm wide
no,
awake. Mess up this, man. You gone. We not
yeah,
even gonna let you. You be gone by the time you get off the plane.
that's it.
Going and
Hey,
we gonna have 5 people in here for your job Tuesday.
mm-hmm,
If
yeah,
you operate like that and understand anything you got is not promised to you, it could be taken away from you tomorrow. So
yeah,
value it,
yeah,
save it, and do what you got to do for that every single day. The
day,
best.
yep, yep, yeah. Like we said, like you talked about earlier, control the things you control, your attitude, your effort, you showing up on time, right? Those
Yeah.
things. And yeah, and when you put those things as a priority, good things, like you said, outwork. Don't let nobody outwork you. Outwork everybody. Don't let nobody outwork you, right? And so, man, with that being said, I'm gonna let Jackie wrap it up, because he's our wrap up artist. He does such a great job
man.
articulating things. But man, for me to you, Sylvester, man, it's been an absolute blast. Man, we appreciate you being vulnerable, opening up, and even just giving us your time. I always say, time is the most important thing for because we don't get it back, right? And
Yep.
so who you choose to spend your time with is extremely important. And because you chose to spend, an hour with us, it's greatly appreciated. And man, thank you once again, man. And I'll
No problem.
I'll let for sure, man. I'll let Jackie go ahead and bring us home.
Man, as Scott said, man, it's just an absolute pleasure. Like, and I don't take these things lightly. I want to, like I say, sending up congratulations to you, your family, your supporting group. The things that you're doing in the community, the things you're doing in the NFL. And many people don't see those things, and I just thank you giving us an opportunity to come on Dreams Podcast, to be a part of our platform, to be a part of our community. And not only that, just to have being able to have the conversation of commonality, because a lot of people don't understand what it is to be a professional athlete. A lot of people don't understand what it is to play a sport, but to be drafted as high as you were, to complete and do and accomplish the things that you did. Man, like I said, that's an honor within itself. And whatever you do, which I know you want, like, that can never be taken from you. And so really for me, like I said, those are the things that really tug at me. And I get emotional a lot of times because I love to see us win. I really, really do. I love to see us win. And man, you're a champion within the record books now. You're a champion within your college now. You were a champion when you were at KC, even though we didn't win a ring. KC's my favorite team. But the reality of it is,
Get ambassador rings though.
exactly. You see what I'm saying? So that was the thing I say, that affiliation, you know what I'm saying? Just keep that up, man. That brotherhood, that affiliation. And
You ain't,
then biggest thing here, well, I ain't gonna say nothing about
you
that.
didn't get one of these, huh, Cat?
Oh no.
Um, oh my God.
I just messing with
Anyway, you know,
you.
um, man, Dreams
What's
Podcast.
that?
Yeah,
Uh,
SWAC champs, national championship champs.
well, I think you forget. 96, we was Black College national champions in
They
And we
won.
96.
won.
Yeah,
We won it
Yeah,
the next year. We won it the
but I
next
was
year.
there in '96, so I got one of them.
yeah,
Don't I
yeah.
got?
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. But from us to you, man, like you said, Dreams Podcast, discipline, respect, education, accountability, masturation, and success. That's what we hope that it's helping somebody. Your message will help somebody change their life, but also look at things in a different perspective. Because you've been at the top. You've been at the top, and then as the injuries took that
Mm-hmm.
away from you, you still find a way, and you still have found a way to make sure that you're still of living the proper way and being an example and being a part of the things you've continued to do from early in your career, man. So for me to you, man, I just appreciate it. Like I said, as Scott said, your time is not something we take lightly. So I thank you for spending this day with us, man, and thank you for all that you shared with us.
What's your before you go? What's your any social medias where people can follow you and things of that nature?
Well, I don't even know.
You
I
don't
think
know?
I think IG is my name.
Yeah, Sylvester
Yeah,
Cat Morris,
yeah.
84.
I'm
Yeah,
about to
yeah,
do that though.
yeah.
I'm gonna do 18 because I'm gonna put that JSU Hall of Fame up there.
Oh, there you
Absolutely.
go. There you go. Already.
I'm a, but right now, yeah, that's where I'm at. Sylvester Cat Mars.
And when is
Yeah, yeah.
what is your induction date?
October 18th.
Congratulations,
Oh
man.
shoot, yeah,
Yeah,
Those
18,
are
19. We played FAMU that weekend.
yeah. That's Southern Homecoming. Southern
Yeah.
plays Alcorn. Southern Homecoming weekend. And
Well, I
then,
wish
hey,
y'all the best. You can shuck that corn anytime y'all want.
hey, I
Always
gotta,
beat up on
hey,
all.
I gotta go to KC with you, man. When you going, so I can get some of that good treatment.
I'm
You
going on
know,
my birthday. We played the Saints that Monday night.
when?
The October the 7th is
Okay,
we play the Saints. So my whole family coming out there because my birthday is that Sunday the 6th. So we gonna go out there and have a good time.
okay.
I told Dante come because I'm gonna be with him. Got
Yeah,
you, got you. That's what life
yeah,
about.
yeah,
absolute.
for
And
sure.
man,
No,
Came
yeah.
in. Woo.
yeah.
For me, man, that's all I have, Scott. Like I said, Sylvester, man, thank you again. Um, it's been an absolute great hour, great honor. And that's all I got, man.
Yeah,
You got
man.
to sign off and
Yeah, man. We're gonna sign off, man. That's another great episode in the books. Dream Podcast. From us to you guys. We appreciate the support. Go like and subscribe, man. We're gonna be putting out just amazing content, bringing on amazing guests like Sylvester Morris here, where that you can learn from and and really get some amazing life lessons. I think that's the thing, we're trying to do is just touch people, and help people. And I think I know that Dreams Podcast will continue to do that, man. So from the locker room to reality, from myself, Jackie Mitchell, Sylvester Morris, hey, from us to you guys, and we signing off. Dream Podcast. Appreciate it.